Starting off at number 10, we have Bilal Phillips. His full name is Abu Amina Bilal Phillips, and he's the founder of an Islamic online university, and he's also Jamaican Canadian like myself. He's a very popular Islamic scholar, and he converted to Islam in the year 1972, or should I say revert. I've seen some comments that people are saying, Leroy, it's not convert, it's actually revert. Either way, Bilal Phillips, he's known for translating and commenting on various Islamic topics on over 50 published books. He's completed his PhD in Islamic theology, and some of his works that he has actually translated were The Devil's Deception, and he's also co-authored Polygamy in Islam, Evolution of Fiqh, as well as the Ansar Cult, among others. Omar Suleiman comes in next at number 9. Now he's somebody that we've actually done a dedicated video about him, but if you haven't seen that video, Imam Omar Suleiman is the president of the ZAKIR Institute for Islamic Research, and he's also a teacher of Islamic studies at Southern Methodist University. He's a very busy man because he's also the co-chair of Faith Forward Dallas at Thanksgiving Square. And this, by the way, is an organization that works together for peace and equity. But it doesn't stop there. He is the founder and president of the ZAKIR Institute of Islamic Research, and he's also the founder of MUHSEN, that is Muslims Understanding and Helping Special Education Needs. And that, by the way, is a non-profit organization. He also produces a weekly series on the Quran that's published, as well as he releases daily content on Islam. Number 8 brings us Shabir Ali. He's a Canadian Muslim scholar, and he's also the president of the Islamic Information and Dawah Center International in Toronto, Canada, and that's where he serves as the Imam. Shabir Ali is also the founder of an online show that is titled Let the Quran Speak, and for his PhD, his thesis was on the expounding of the Quran. Now this guy, he's an amazing man. I've personally seen him debate live with a Christian scholar named Jay Smith. Both of them were very, very, very good, as well as they were very respectful for each other's faiths. Number 7 brings us to Numan Ali Khan. He's the founder of Bayina, and he's an American preacher who does his best to connect Muslims closer with the Quran. He's taught more than 10,000 students through conducting different traveling seminars, and he also has millions of followers in different parts of the world. As a matter of fact, he's recognized as one of the youngest scholars who have a lot of influence in general from across all faiths. We definitely have to talk about Yusuf Estes. He comes in at number 6. He was born Joseph Estes, but after his reversion or conversion, I think I'm using that word right, to Islam, he changed his name to Yusuf, which is of course the Arabic pronunciation of Joseph. He joined Islam from Christianity in the year 1991, and he also claimed to have been a Muslim chaplain for the United States Bureau of Prisons through the 1990s, and also serving as a Muslim delegate to the United Nations World Peace Conference for Religious Leaders, and that was held at the UN back in September of 2000. So of course, this man is very influential. He's recognized all around the world. Let's move on now to number 5, Mufti Menk. This man, we've also done a dedicated video on him as well. His full name is Ismail Ibn Musa Menk, and he was born in Zimbabwe. He is a very passionate and powerful Islamic preacher. He's the head of the Fatwa department at Majlisul Ulama Zimbabwe, which is the Council of Islamic Scholars of Zimbabwe. He also serves as the Imam at Masjid Al-Falah in Zimbabwe. He now has a title of Mufti, which is given in Islamic circles, and he's a very great speaker. Like I mentioned, he's spoken in different parts of the world, and I guess one of the amazing things about him is that he solely does his work just for the joy of sharing the message. So most times he just does his work for free. There's no charges or anything that's associated with a lot of the work that he does. Next up, we have Maulana Tariq Jamil. He comes in at number 4. He was born on January 1st, 1953, and usually when people are referring to him, they give him the title of Maulana, but his name is Tariq Jamil. He's of Pakistani origins, and he's a very famous speaker. He is a member of the Tablighi Jamaat, as well as a researcher who runs a madrasa in Faisalabad, Pakistan. Pakistan. He's featured in the 2013-2014 version of the book Muslim 500, and that publication recognizes the most influential Muslims in the world. He's also somebody that I've personally met. He's a really great guy. We had a great conversation when he visited Canada some years ago. Number 3 brings us Dr. ZAKIR NAIK. His full name is ZAKIR Abdul Karim NAIK, and he's an Indian Islamic evangelist, as well as he's an author and of course the leader of the Islamic Research Foundation. He's also the founder of the Relative Religion Peace TV channel, from which he has reached an audience of over 100 million viewers. Now, when you see Dr. ZAKIR NAIK speak, especially in his videos and his interactions with people, you can see that he makes his points very clear, and he does his best to remove any misconceptions about Islam using the Quran and the Hadith as well as other religious scriptures as basis, along with using scientific evidence, as well as he's also very versed in the Bible. He can quote scriptures of the Bible, in some cases a lot better than other Christian scholars. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why there's such a great appeal towards his work. Israr Ahmed comes in at number 2. He was born back in the year 1932, but he's no longer with us today, sadly. Israr Ahmed was born in Pakistan. He was known for being a dynamic speaker and an Islamic scholar, and also was the founder of Tanzeen-e-Islami, which is an organization that works to spread the use of the Quran and Sunnah in all aspects of society. Sadly, Israr Ahmed, he passed away due to cardiac arrest at his home in Lahore, Pakistan, back in April 14, 2010, and he was 78 years old at the time. And finally, at number 1, we haven't done a video about him, but he's somebody who's also no longer with us. Ahmed Didat. He has left a major legacy. Ahmed Hussein Didat was born in India's Surat province in the year 1918, and his father had ended up immigrating to South Africa soon after, and he ended up moving and growing up there as well. He's delivered thousands of lectures in different parts of the world, as well as he's participated in public debates, as well as he's debated many different Christian scholars and people of different faiths. For his works, Ahmed Didat was commended by Nelson Mandela, who also is no longer with us, as well as he's received the King Faisal Award from Saudi Arabia in the year 1986 for all of his services dedicated to Islam. Starting at number 10, we have Bilal Phillips. Dr. Abu Amina Bilal Phillips is a Jamaican-Canadian Islamic scholar who converted to Islam in the early 70s. Shortly after becoming a Muslim, he then began a journey to seek Islamic knowledge. That journey then took him to Saudi Arabia, where he completed a bachelor's in arts in Islamic studies in Medina and also an MA in Islamic theology in Riyadh. Then he went to the University of Wales, UK, where he completed a PhD in Islamic theology in the early 1990s.
When you look at the consequences, besides the fabrication of hadith,
Number 9 brings us Yusuf Estes. Sheikh Yusuf Estes is an American Muslim preacher as well as a teacher, and he had converted from Christianity to Islam in the year 1991. And this was after meeting a Muslim man when he was in Egypt. He was a Muslim chaplain for the United States Bureau of Prisons from 1994 up until the year 2000. And also he was a Muslim delegate to the United Nations World Peace Conference for Religious Leaders that was held at the UN in September 2000. Now what he does is he works to share the religion of Islam, as well as he hopes to share the correct message with the youth, new Muslims, as well as others in very simple English terms. He also tries to make the religion of Islam as well as the Quran as understandable as possible.
All of us are susceptible to people telling us stuff from the time we're born. We don't know. I'm a little kid, I'm born and I come into the world and people start telling me stuff. Who's the person I'm going to trust the very most?
Khalid Yasin is next. Sheikh Khalid Yasin is what is known as a da'i, and this is basically somebody who speaks publicly about the Islamic faith in order to really inspire the spiritual and moral conscience of the listeners, or also to just educate and inform people about the Islamic faith. He was born in Brooklyn, New York, and he learned to speak about inequality. Now, he grew up in foster homes from the age of 3, along with some of his siblings up until the age of 15 years old. He describes each of these foster homes as having a different Christian denomination, so he actually covered a lot of different denominations of Christianity growing up. Prior to his conversion to Islam, he was a gang member as well, and he converted to Islam in the year 1965.
God sent a prophet from among the Bani Israel. All the prophets came from a designated group of people.
The scholar at number 7 is Yusha Evans. Now, this man, Yusha Evans, was born and raised in Greenville, South Carolina in the United States into a very conservative Christian family. Now, during his early teens, he was really involved in the church, and that church is called Young Life, which is a non-denominational organization centered around the youth, and he actually had intentions of becoming a preacher. But later he converted to the religion of Islam in December of 1998, and Yusha, which comes from the name Joshua, he currently travels all around the world as a lecturer as well as a caller to Islam, and he also teaches workshops depending on where he is in different parts of the world.
Muslims, who I thought were the worst people on earth, could have the right religion. That was just something my brain was not ready to comprehend.
Hamza Yusuf is at number 6. Hamza Yusuf was born as Mark Hansen in Washington, and he grew up as a Greek Orthodox Christian. Now, in the year 1977, after a near-death experience in a car accident and then reading the Quran for himself, he converted from Christianity to Islam. Sheikh Hamza Yusuf, he spent 2 decades studying with the scholars over in the Middle East as well as different parts of Africa. And after returning to the United States, Sheikh Hamza Yusuf, he co-founded what is known as the Zaytuna College. And this is America's first accredited Muslim liberal arts college, and it's based in California. At number 5, we have the scholar Abdur Rahim Green. Abdur Rahim Green was born in 1962 in Tanzania to a British father and a Polish mother, and he grew up as a Roman Catholic. Now, fast forward to the year 1987, after struggling with his Roman Catholic upbringing as well as also practicing Buddhism for a short time, believe it or not, Abdur Rahim Green, he began his journey to Islam, and he officially converted in the year 1988. He soon became a regular at the Popular Speaker's Corner in Hyde Park over in London, and that's where he practiced Dawah, which is a call to Islam, and that was done on a regular basis.
Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he is Khatam al-Nabiyyin. He is the seal of the messengers. So that responsibility falls upon us.
Scholar number 4 is Hamza Andreas Sortsis, and he's a Muslim convert of Greek descent, as well as he's the author of The Divine Reality, God, Islam, and the Mirage of Atheism. He's a well-known public speaker as well as an instructor, and he has a master's and a postgraduate certificate in philosophy from the University of London. Hamza has studied Islamic thought and theology under qualified scholars, and he's delivered various different workshops as well as different courses and an accredited diploma course on topics related to Islamic thought as well as Islamic philosophy. Almost at the end of this episode, number 3 brings us Suhaib Webb. Now, Suhaib Webb was born William Webb into a Christian family, and his grandfather was also a Christian preacher. But as time went on, before he converted to Islam and long before he was considered a Muslim cleric actually, Imam Suhaib Webb lost complete interest in any religion. He became a street gangster, specifically a member of the Bloods gang, and he also became a hip-hop DJ and a producer. But after converting to Islam, he founded SWIS, which stands for the Suhaib Webb Institute of Sacred Sciences. And this, by the way, is an Islamic educational experience that uses multiple teaching methods in a structured curriculum so that people can build their Islamic literacy. Only 2 more scholars to look at, and number 2 brings us Dr. Lawrence B. Brown. Born as a Christian American up until his conversion to Islam in April of 1994, Dr. Brown was definitely somebody that anyone looking in would say like, well, yeah, he's living the stereotypical American dream. He's a graduate from 2 Ivy League universities, and he also served as a respected ophthalmologist in the United States Air Force for 8 years. Now, after a personal miracle where his daughter's life was saved, Dr. Brown changed his focus to religious studies, and he ended up in the religion of Islam. And finally, our scholar number 1 in this episode is Nuhamim Keller. He's an Islamic scholar, teacher, as well as an author. Nuhamim Keller studied philosophy and Arabic at the University of Chicago and the University of California, Los Angeles. He converted to Islam from Roman Catholicism in the year 1977. Now, on top of teaching Sufism, which is like the spiritual inner dimension of Islam, he has also written several books and articles on a wide range of subjects. And probably one of the most prominent of his works to this very date is The Reliance of the Traveler. And by the way, that's an annotated English translation of the Umdat al-Salik, which is a Shafi'i legal work by Ahmad ibn Naqib al-Misri. It contains over 6,000 legal rulings, as well as it was the first English translation of an Islamic legal work to be certified by the Al-Azhar University. Number 10, and that is Shabir Ali. Now, Shabir Ali is a Canadian Muslim scholar, and he's also the president of the Islamic Information and Dawah Center International in Toronto, Canada. And that's where he serves as the Imam. Now, Shabir Ali is also the founder of an online show, and it's called Let the Quran Speak. By the way, you can find his videos here on YouTube as well. He has a PhD, and his PhD thesis is on the exegesis of the Quran. And by the way, that fancy word exegesis just means explanation or interpretation. Now, I've actually attended a debate where Shabir Ali was speaking, and he was debating another Christian scholar, and I have to say that this guy was very knowledgeable, and he articulated his points really well. All around, he's a great guy.
So Ramadan is closely connected with the Quran. This is why Muslims make it a habit of reading the Quran more so in Ramadan than any other time.
Moving on now to number 9, we have Bilal Phillips. His full name is Abu Amina Bilal Phillips, and he's recognized for founding the Islamic Online University, and he's a Jamaican Canadian Islamic scholar. Back in the year 1972, that's when he converted to Islam, and he has translated as well as commented on various Islamic topics on over 50 published books. He completed his PhD in Islamic theology back in the year 1994 from the University of Wales. And by the way, among some of his works that he's translated were The Devil's Deception, and his co-authored works are Polygamy in Islam, Evolution of Fiqh, The Ansar Cult, The Fundamentals of Tawheed, and Hajj and Umrah according to the Quran and Sunnah. Number 8 brings us Yasmin Mogahed. Yasmin Mogahed is known for captivating her audience. She's known internationally for her motivational lectures. Now, she's a psychology graduate, and she got her master's in journalism as well as mass communications from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. So, of course, that sort of speaks to how she's able to just really communicate with a massive amount of people in a very effective way. She's also the first Muslim woman to become an instructor at the Al-Maghrib Institute. So very amazing achievement for her.
When I was young, we had a lot of youth training. We used to call it Minna at that age, or YM.
And on that note, number 7 brings us Dalia Mogahed. Dalia Mogahed is an American researcher, and she's originally from Egypt. Now, she's a director of research at the Institute of Social Policy and Understanding in Washington, D.C. Just last year in 2019, she was recognized in the list of 200 people who best embody the spirit of work of Frederick Douglass, who's one of the most influential figures in history by the Frederick Douglass Family Initiatives and the Anti-Racist Research and Policy Center at American University in collaborations with The Guardian. Now, she was also selected as an advisor by the US President Barack Obama, or I should say former US President, but specifically she was an advisor on the White House Office of Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships. So of course, she was able to have a huge impact under the Obama administration. Number 6 brings us Omar Suleiman. Imam Omar Suleiman is the president of the Yaqin Institute for Islamic Research, as well as a teacher of Islamic Studies at Southern Methodist University. Now, he's also the inhabitant researcher of the Valley Ranch Islamic Center. And by the way, he's also co-chair of Faith Forward Dallas at Thanksgiving Square. And that, by the way, is a multi-confidence organization together for peace and equity. And just to speak a little bit more of who he is, he's an American Muslim scholar, civil rights activist. Omar Suleiman also founded the Muslims Understanding and Helping Special Education Needs, which is a non-profit organization. He also has a series on the Quran weekly that is published, as well as he makes contributions to the Hadith of the day. Moving on now to the scholar at number 5, and that is Numan Ali Khan. He's a founder of the Bayana Ustad. He's an American preacher that connects Muslims to the Quran. Now, by the way, he's taught more than 10,000 students through seminars, and this guy literally has millions of followers. He's recognized all around the world as one of the young and most influential Western Muslim scholars. Number 4 brings us Mufti Menk. I've been seeing this guy's name quite often in the comment section. You guys are asking for videos about him. Ismail Ibn Musa Menk, better known as Mufti Menk. He's a renowned Islamic preacher as well as a Mufti of Zimbabwe. He's the head of the Fatwa department of the Majlisul Ulama Zimbabwe, and that's the Council of the Islamic Scholars of Zimbabwe. And he also serves as the Imam at the Masjid Al-Falah. Mufti Menk, he's a phenomenal inspirational speaker and lecturer, and he's known around the world. And one of the most inspiring things about this guy is that he really just works mainly for the joy of serving Allah. And he does this without little to no financial reward. Yusuf Estes comes in at number 3. Now, Yusuf Estes, who was born Joseph Estes back in the year 1944, and he's an American minister from Texas, and he converted from Christianity to Islam back in the year 1991. According to him, he claims to have been a Muslim chaplain for the United States Bureau of Prisons throughout the 1990s, as well as he served as a Muslim delegate to the United Nations World Peace Conference for Religious Leaders, and that was held at the UN in September 2000. Number 2 brings us Maulana Tariq Jamil, and by the way, I've done a video just dedicated to him, so that's probably going to be in the video description down below, a link to that video, as well as maybe in the card section of this episode. But either way, Tariq Jamil was born in January of 1953. He's of Pakistani descent. He's a religious and Islamic researcher, evangelist, as well as he's an open speaker. He's from the Tablighi Jamaat and a researcher who runs a madrasa in Faisalabad, Pakistan. And he was also recognized as an impactful and influential speaker in the 2013-2014 version of the book Muslim 500. We got one more Islamic scholar left, and at number 1, that is Dr. ZAKIR NAIK. ZAKIR Abdul Karim NAIK is an Indian Islamic evangelist as well as an author, and he's the leader of the Islamic Research Foundation. He's also the author of the Peace TV channel, where, by the way, he receives over 100 million viewers. Now, there's a lot of appeal when it comes to Dr. ZAKIR NAIK because he actually aims to clear up misconceptions about Islam and the Quran and the Hadith. And when he does his explaining, he uses a lot of science as well. So unlike many other Islamic preachers, his lectures are actually delivered in the common language that people can understand. And he delivers them in English and not in Urdu or Arabic. Of course, English is a much wider spoken language than any of those languages.
Starting off at number 10, we have Sana Khan. Now, I included her in this list because she has sent a shockwave throughout the religious world, but not just the religious world, the entertainment world as well. And this was because of her recent decision. Something tells me though that it has also inspired a lot of people that are probably going to do the same, but who knows, we'll just have to wait and see. Either way, Sana Khan, who is she? Well, she is a former Indian actress, model, and dancer, and she began her career as a model and went on to appear on TV commercials as well as starring in feature films. She was also a finalist on the reality TV show Big Boss back in the year 2012, and that really helped push her to stardom. But in this year, October 8th, 2020, Sana Khan, she announced to the world that she quit the film industry. And she also said that she was thinking a lot about her purpose of her existence on this planet, and then she shared that she tried to search for her answers for her questions, and then she realized that the purpose of life was really to
actually attain life after death and help people do that as well. So she announced to the world, therefore I declare today that from today onwards, I have resolved to say goodbye to my showbiz lifestyle forever and serve humanity and follow the orders of my creator. Hasan Minhaj comes in at number 9. He is a comedian, a writer, a producer, an actor, as well as now a TV host. He's now known mostly for his Netflix show Patriot Act. He's a stand-up comedian, and his special called Homecoming King debuted on Netflix in May of 2017. He grew up a Muslim in California, United States, and he says that his Muslim faith has really helped his comedy. He says that his faith has allowed him to see things in a very unique perspective, and he also brings up a lot of his personal experiences when it comes to his work. After several years of working at The Daily Show and the success of his stand-up comedy special, he then went on to have his own TV show, and in Patriot Act, episodes come out weekly, and it's a show where he uses comedy to address social, political, and cultural issues in the world. Number 8 brings us Mohamed Salah. Everyone knows Mohamed Salah. He's a Sunni Muslim and an Egyptian football player, and he's not only achieved greatness, but he also has a lot of influence on people. Mohamed Salah plays on the team Liverpool, where he broke many records so far, and he's getting a lot of recognition for this. He also helped Egypt qualify for the World Cup because, of course, him being an Egyptian, he plays on the Egyptian national football team. He's also played a huge role in changing people's perspective about Islam because people see him on the field. He's a cool guy. He's very accepting, very open. At the same time, though, he's seen praying on the field. So he's a very dedicated Muslim, and at the same time, he does his best to work really well with his teammates and also have a positive impact on humanity. Bella Hadid comes in at number 7. Bella Hadid is short for Isabella Hadid, and she was born in Washington, D.C. in the United States, and she's famously known for being a supermodel who has represented some of the top brands in the entire world. She is half Palestinian, and she originally attended the Parsons School of Design, where she was studying photography, and then she ended up completely dropping out of school because of her modeling career. It was just skyrocketing. Bella Hadid has also announced that she is a very proud Muslim, and she has helped to inspire a new generation of young people to take up modeling as well as pursue other creative passions that they have. Celebrity up next is Shah Rukh Khan, the king of Bollywood. He's an Indian actor as well as a film producer and also a TV host. He's a legendary Indian actor, a film producer, as well as a TV personality, and he is a proud Muslim. According to Shah Rukh Khan, he strongly believes in the values of Islam, but he also does his best to work with his wife and respect her religion because she is Hindu. And he also said that his children are free to follow both religions. He doesn't force his religion on his family. But according to him, he has the Quran as well as Hindu deities that are set up at his house. Mr. Shah Rukh Khan, aka King Khan, he has appeared in more than 80 Bollywood films, and he has won a lot of awards over his career. Following suit at number 5, we have Salman Khan, another legendary Indian actor. He's also a film producer, and sometimes he is seen singing on camera. Over his career, he's received many awards like Filmfare Awards and National Film Awards. And actually recently on Forbes 2018 list of top paid 100 celebrity entertainers, he made it to that list. He ranked 82nd. So that's way into his career, and he's still one of the 100 highest paid actors in the entire world. He also is someone who identifies as Muslim because his father was Muslim, but his mother was Hindu. So sometimes he describes himself as being Muslim and Hindu at the same time. The celebrity at number 4 is Huda Kattan. Now she owns and operates Huda Beauty, the YouTube channel. She's ultra successful, and she's one of the best known social media influencers in the Middle East, but not just in the Middle East. Her influence spans the entire globe. She was born in Oklahoma City to Iraqi parents, and after she really battled with self-esteem and self-image issues because of a lot of bullying bullying that she faced, she turned to makeup to help this. And then later on, she moved to Dubai, and then she gained a lot of social media popularity after her makeup tutorials and advice videos started to blow up on YouTube. Huda Kattan, she has a net worth of $610 million, and she was featured on Forbes 2019 list of America's richest self-made women. Next, I want to talk about Muhammad Ali. He's the only celebrity in this episode who has passed away, and when you think about the greatest Muslim athletes of all time, one of the first names that people think of is Muhammad Ali. He was known to many as the greatest boxer ever born, and he won every big boxing title that he went in. Muhammad Ali, he defeated more champions and top contenders than any other heavyweight champion in history. But he wasn't just known for boxing, he was known for his activist work in America to promote racial equality, as well as he went on to be a major voice for Islam in America. Next celebrity to look at is Gigi Hadid. Yelena Noura Hadid, also known as Gigi Hadid, was born April 23rd, 1995, and she is an American fashion model. She's made appearances on countless amount of magazine covers. Gigi, she was signed to IMG Models back in the year 2013, and then in November of 2014, she made her debut on the top 50 models ranking at models.com. And then fast forward in 2016, she was named International Model of the Year by the British Fashion Council. She, of course, is Palestinian American, and she's also the sister of Bella Hadid, and she also is a very proud Muslim. Currently, right now, she has a following on Instagram of over 60 million people. Now, the celebrity that we're going to end this episode off with is Imran Khan. From celebrity to politician, Imran Khan was a national cricketer and the captain of the Pakistani national cricket team, and he led them to victory in the 1992 Cricket World Cup. Now, he became Prime Minister of Pakistan back in the year 2018, and this was all a result of his influence that he had. People believed that he could actually move the country forward and help solve issues in the government, as well as reduce corruption in the country. Imran Khan is considered to be a great influencer, and he leads over 220 million people, which is Pakistan's current population. And he's also a major influential force for people of Pakistan who have moved to different parts of the world. Because of his influence over an entire large nation, well, that's one of the reasons why he's #1 in this episode. We're going to kickstart this episode with Shamil Alayutdinov. Shamil is a theologian, imam, and a mufti, and he was born in the year 1974 in Moscow, present-day Russia. He attended Egypt's renowned Al-Azhar University and has served as the imam of Moscow's Memorial Mosque since the year 1998. He is the president of the Ulema Council of the Spiritual Directorate of Muslims of the Russian Federation. Among Russian-speaking Muslims, Shamil Alayutdinov is regarded as one of the most influential Islamic scholars. He has written several books on Islam, and he is frequently interviewed by Russian and foreign media on various topics concerning Islam, as well as the rest of the Muslim world. Number 9 leads us to Marat Khusnulin. Marat Khusnulin is a deputy prime minister of Russia, and he was born in the city of Kazan in 1966. He has a bachelor's degree in economics and a master's degree in professional management. He served as a Minister of Construction, Architecture, Housing and Public Works in Russia from the years 2001 up until the year 2010. In 2010, he was appointed Deputy Mayor of Construction and Urban Development in Moscow, which is a position that he held up until the year 2020. During this time, he really helped the modernization of Moscow, and he was also appointed Deputy Prime Minister for Construction and Regional Development in Russia in January of 2020. From there, let's look at Suleiman Kerimov. He is a billionaire businessman. He's also a social worker and a politician, and he served in the Soviet Army and graduated from Dagestan State University with a bachelor's degree in financial accounting and economics. So this guy, of course, knows his money. Suleiman Karimov is a shareholder in the Russian bank Fedprom and the oil company of Nafta Moscow, as well as the Russian state-owned gas company Gazprom. And also he is a shareholder in the bank Saber Bank. Back in the year 2006, he had formed a foundation to run charitable activities, and he also donated $100 million to build the largest mosque in Europe. And he's also one of the world's richest people. He has an estimated net worth of over $21.3 billion. Talgat Tazuddin comes next. He is the main religious leader and the chief mufti of Russia. From 1992 up until 2015, he had been the head of the Central Spiritual Directorate of Muslims, which is the main religious organization of Russian Muslims. He also represents Russian Muslims in UNESCO, as well as the OIC and the European League of Muslims and other organizations. Talgat Tazuddin, he was a staunch supporter, and perhaps still is, of the intervention of expanding Russia's global influence. Like, he even told the Russian president, and I quote, "What we have done in Crimea, we should probably do in Syria and Israel. Let Russia extend to Mecca." Number 6 leads us to Alisher Usmanov. He's also a billionaire businessman, and back in the 1990s, he rose to prominence as a major businessman in Russia with the opportunity to implement a free market economy. He has a net worth that is estimated to be $19.5 billion as of this year, 2022. And Alisher Usmanov is the founder of the global company USM Holdings and the owner of the Russian telecom company Megaphone, as well as the internet company Mail.ru and the newspaper Kommersant. He is also involved in several sports organizations and is the current president of the International Fencing Federation. From there, let's look at Ramzan Kadyrov coming in at number 5. This man is a politician and a parliamentary official. Ramzan Kadyrov is currently the Chechen president and also a major general in the Russian National Guard. Ramzan Kadyrov has been instrumental in rebuilding the war-torn Chechnya. He has implemented some forms of Islamic law in Chechnya, but he's also a very vocal opponent of Chechen separatists. Number 4 leads us to Rustam Minyanov. He was Tajikstan's prime minister from the year 1996 to 2010 and its head of state in 2010. Tajikistan is one of Russia's richest regions, so the republic's head of state holds more power than those of Russia's other administrative regions. Rustam Minyanov has made significant contributions to Tajikistan's economic and technological development. Tajikistan has become one of Russia's leading technological centers under his leadership. In at the number 3 spot, we have Khabib Nurmagomedov. Of course, I couldn't make a list of influential and powerful Russians without mentioning him. Khabib Nurmagomedov is a mixed martial artist, and he is considered one of the best martial artists of all time. He was UFC's lightweight champion and won all of his 29 fights. Now, he retired from MMA back in the year 2021, and yet he was still undefeated. Khabib is the first Muslim to win a UFC title, and he is the most followed Russian on Instagram. And his followers total 33.5 million followers at the time of recording this video. He is regarded as one of the most well-known Muslim athletes in the entire world, and Khabib Nurmagomedov is a practicing Muslim, and he has been very vocal about his Islamic beliefs. At number 2, we have Mintimir Shaimiev. Mintimir Shaimiev was the president of Tajikistan, and he was a member of the Tatar Communist Party and held multiple positions. Back in the year 1991, he was elected the president of Tajikistan and voted in favor of Tajikistan's independence during his reign in a referendum. With Mayor of Moscow, Yuri Luzkov, he formed the United Russian Party, which is now the ruling party of Russia. In the year 2010, he resigned as head of state, but remained with the government as an advisor. Ending this episode at number 1, we have Rawil Gainetdin. He is a theologian, an imam, as well as a mufti. And since the year 1996, he has been the Grand Mufti of Russia, and currently he is the spiritual admin. Raul Gainetdin is regarded as the most powerful Russian Muslim. He has close ties to the Kremlin and is well known among Russian Muslims. He is a big supporter of peace between Christians and Muslims.